Welcome back, everybody, to the Pick Me podcast, the place where we slide under the velvet ropes, make a mad dash across the red carpet, and sneak into the backstage dressing rooms dressed as a janitor, all to speak with the stars. On today's show, we have the insanely talented Daniel Pohlmann, who played multiple roles both on and off the camera in the Pick Me movie. Dan, welcome.
Thanks for having me, mate.
It's so good to have you here. It's good to see you again. We haven't caught up since the film.
Yeah, man. What's up with that, huh? How come I haven't had an invite to your house, had dinner and stuff?
Well, that was part of the contract as far as I remember. So I could be in a breach there. But it's better late than never, as they say. So look, we'll have to organise that. I'm going to blame COVID and all the other stuff that's been going on in the universe. Yeah. So we are here today to talk about your multiple roles in the Pick Me movie. But I think we should start out for the audience that have been in lockdown too long and don't know who you are. Let's catch them up with your background and how you got into the acting arena.
Basically, I found out at a young age that I'm an absolute attention whore and I love the spotlight, and being on the stage is just a lot of fun because people are looking at you, making you feel better. I met someone that was really awesome, and basically they taught me a bit about film while I was doing theatre in school. So they had a background in film, and I basically thought that was one of the coolest things ever. So I tried to chase that up, went to film school for a couple of years, and the rest is history.
Right. Okay. So it seems to be quite a trodden path, the old go from the theatre stage and then into the film arena after that. Well, what are the differences for the people out there that are wanting to get into acting? What's your insight into the differences between them and how you head in that direction?
Well, the core is essentially the same. You're there to convince the audience that you feel something. You're there to make them feel something as well. And the main differences between theatre and film is theatre, you've got to make everything big. You got to let the little person in the back, way in the back, like 50 meters that way, know exactly what's happening. So you've got to have really good projection. You've got to have really big movements. But with film, you've got to really, really be sure of what you're doing in the moment, because the camera picks up absolutely everything. So you need to have the most deep and filled knowledge of exactly the tiniest modicum of what you're doing. So there's a lot that goes into it in both sides, but ultimately it's just being able to make someone feel something.
Well, when did you realise that was the case, when you had to change the way that you delivered your acting?
Well, I reckon it was about a week in, and my teacher was saying, Daniel, you're doing too much. Just bring it down. Just do less. Sometimes I still struggle with that, but I find that when you go into acting, it's easier to do too much than too little. Well, not easier. It's just better for your performance, because you can always bring it back. But if you just don't know how to do anything, then you can't really do more. You can't do more of nothing. So, yeah.
What age were you when you first off the stage and in front of the camera?
Well, I went straight in after high school. So it's just been a nonstop road since when I was 18. That was when I was at New York Film Academy, a really brilliant diving platform, actually. They really set you up quite well. You learn exactly what to do and what not to do, which is quite brilliant. Had some really lovely talent. There was a teacher called Adam. I don't remember what his last name is, but he's a wonderful man. I believe you've met him as well.
Yeah, shout outs to Adam Cooper. Coop, as we know.
Adam Cooper, yeah, that's right.
True legend, absolutely. It's funny that you bring up Coop, because as part of going to film school, we do review a lot of independent movies and other students' movies, and then we all feed back on them in the class, and you learn a lot from doing that. a couple of the movies that Coop showed, you actually starred in. And the penny didn't even drop until actually way after. Like, I think it was on the day of shooting that it was after the auditions. But I'll tell you straight up now that through all that sea of B grade and independent and people's first time in movies, when your films came on, it was just like a million times. Like, it was like, holy hell, this is a real film. And I honestly think it was just your acting. There was nothing different. The camera shots were the same, the lighting, the production, everything was on a level through all of them. But your acting just stood out so much above everything else. And it made the whole production seem like we were watching a massive budgeted film. So
thanks so much, man. Yeah, it was honestly just like keeping on going. I know so many people that have dreams of being an actor and doing what they love. And sometimes you see them find the whole process so daunting. And a buddy of mine, he really wants to do it, but he just has no budget. He has no idea of where he's going. He's got no mentor. And I desperately want to like try and help him, but I'm still figuring it out too. Any new person to the industry really has a lot of trouble finding their way without someone else to really show them what they're doing. Yeah, I know exactly how it feels to feel like a little fish in a big pond. But yeah, I'm still just doing my best to keep on projects, and honestly, that's the best thing that anyone can do. Just film yourself, get in front of camera, just get comfortable with being seen. That's the stuff that you need to do, you know?
Awesome, man. So good. Epic advice. I was going to ask you how you deal with that, but you seem to have touched on it there, that you just sort of keep powering through it and just keep on moving and not let it get weighed down on you. So
yeah. Sometimes you can't spend your time waiting for something to happen. Opportunity isn't something that just happens to people. You've got to walk up and open the door yourself. I'm just now discovering that myself, actually. So it's never too late, never too early for someone to figure out that they've got to work for what they want to have. Yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant advice. Brilliant advice. Okay. So as I was saying, I kind of at the audition process didn't know who you were, and the penny dropped a little while later. And I'm kind of glad I didn't, actually, because it was good to just have you walk into that audition room and do what you did. And it was a big audition, because you and look, I'm hoping there is up and coming actors out here that will pay close attention to this, because long story short, you were actually too good for the main role. So the main character was the main male character was Sam, and he was supposed to be real timid and real meek and real mild. And your confidence level and your general way you carried yourself was just way too full on for the Sam character. But I knew that I had to have you on the film in one way or another. So as the audition was going on, I'm like, oh, how can we get this guy in there? You'd mentioned that you'd done some voiceover work, and there was a role in the film of the talking guitar, Cosmo. And I already had it. I wanted him to kind of be English, whether it was Scottish or Irish or something like that, because he had a connection to Jimi Hendrix and those old days of the English rock bands through the early 60s and stuff like that. And so you'd done a full audition for Sam, quite a long one. We got you on the guitar and everything. And I'll never forget, you did the Michael J. Fox Back to the Future slide on your knees with the guitar across the floor. You just put everything into it. And all of us in the room were just, who the hell is this guy?
That was a lot of fun, but my knees hurt after that.
So you had to pick yourself up off your knees and then do some voiceover. Yeah. And if that wasn't enough, we made you do 2 different accents. And I watched you right before my eyes go from a Scottish accent, which was absolutely brilliant. And that's what we ended up going with Cosmo. And then we really ramped up the pressure level and we thought, we'll test this guy out. Now can you do an Irish accent? And I think it took you like maybe 1 or 2 minutes to get out of the Scottish and into the Irish. But once you
sometimes you get stuck in it. It's really awkward. But yeah, I start with Irish and then I go straight back into Scottish. But
well, so I had this predicament of the voiceover. You're definitely Cosmo. The voice is amazing, but then he's got these incredible acting skills as well, and I have to have this guy on screen in one way or another. So in the script, there was a tiny little role of an MC who introduces the Battle of the Bands and the bands of that. And it was only supposed to be like a half a second shot, and it was literally going to be a close up of him talking on the mic. And it ended up being, I think your MC piece goes for probably a minute, over a minute.
Really?
It's quite a lot of screen time. And I would be as interested as anyone else in knowing how you came up with this MC character, because I acknowledged your skills and I really just let you just go wild into a Brumby into the wildflowers and just let you gallop off into the sunset. And so, yeah, maybe you can give us a bit of insight, first of all, of how you develop that MC character.
Well, I thought that I've seen like a bunch of different MCs before. There's that Let's Get Ready to Rumble guy. And he was someone that I thought of immediately. But I thought, like, he must be getting pretty old now. Wouldn't it be really funny if, I don't know, they hired some old has-been MC that's actually done a lot of really cool stuff, but now he's just trying to, like, get some money, and that's why he's doing this high school one.
He's all washed up, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it'd be just really funny to sort of have that sort of in my back pocket, and be thinking about that when I do that. I just ultimately thought it'd be really funny to do it like that.
Yeah, the MC character is absolutely phenomenal, and it just worked absolutely brilliantly. And then in the very same day, I mean, we shot that scene in like probably half an hour or something. I think you did 2 or 3 takes of it.
Yeah, something like that.
And then we wrapped up like an hour later, and then you were straight upstairs into the recording studio doing your Scottish Cosmo voice. So the whole lot for you was wrapped up in a day, which is just absolutely crazy. So maybe give the audience a little bit of look into how the Cosmo voiceover went.
Okay. It was actually a lot of fun to do that. Essentially, I was just channeling like a really snarky, bitchy Shrek.
Yeah, nice. It's a good way to put it, actually. Yeah,
that's honestly, I think that's as much thought as I put into that one. But man, I had fun with it, and that was ultimately, I think, the point of the character is just to have a lot of fun and let everyone else have fun in the meantime.
It actually brings me to my first question that we have.
Yeah.
It's from Hamlet's Helmet.
Hamlet's Helmet.
They would like to ask, what's harder, voiceover or on-screen acting?
It's 2 different art forms. It's like with voice acting, all you've got to be thinking about is exactly how your voice comes out. So it's that same mindfulness of the tiny little aspects of your performance. But you've also got to keep in mind how far away you are from the mic, how far away from the mic you need to be to shout in it and not overload the microphones and the whole system. But with film, it's just pretty much doing the same thing, but for your whole body. So it's just a little bit of apples and oranges, a little bit, but there is some like overlapping things here and there.
Cool. All righty. That's awesome. John Revolta wants to know, what's the key to staying in character?
Well, John Revolta, sometimes it helps if your character, if you know that they have to have one thing about them, a defining trait. It's very helpful sometimes to do that even when you're not on camera. So if you've got a limp and that's their defining thing, you'll limp. It's like House. if you need to have like a Scottish accent, sometimes it helps to have a Scottish accent outside of the actual filming itself as well.
Wow.
But
okay.
It's all about keeping in mind that one defining characteristic and keeping that in your head, keeping it fresh, because you got to keep reminding yourself on who you're portraying. Otherwise, you slip back into you, and then you've got to warm yourself back up again. It's not world ending if you slip out of it, but you're probably going to need a few minutes to like go back into it.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thanks for that. Okay, we've got one more before we wrap it up here. Sandra Marsh. Oh, this is a good question. Looking back, what were the best decisions and moves you've made to advance your career in the acting arena?
Getting an agent earlier, keeping in contact with all of my buddies.
Right. Okay. Simple as that, hey? Simple as that.
That's really important, because if you've got people to work with when you've not got anything going on in terms of like your agent giving you work, then it's really, really good to fill your time with just working with your buddies that you know can help support you with your career. And you know, if they know what they're doing, they're going to be reminding you as well. And if you know what you're doing, you're going to be reminding them. It's really good to remind each other exactly what you're doing there. Sometimes I forget. Yeah, sometimes I forget exactly where I am. I enter a room and then I think, oh, how did I get here? I may have dementia.
But yeah, look, I've never thought of it like that way of, so you're saying even though you're not having game time, you still want to run laps around the oval so that when you do get in front of that camera, you're ready to roll.
Yeah, you always need to be able to go at any moment's notice, because otherwise, you start getting how I might call it cold.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I totally get that. And secondly, you're also using your group as sort of support. So when you're down and out and questioning existence and all the rest of it, you've got some buddies there to lean on and to give you a bit of a boost and say, get back in the game. So really cool, man. Really cool. Well, look, I can't thank you enough for your time today and brilliant insights for all the up and coming actors out there. So I wish you all the best in the future. And I've got my fingers crossed really tightly that we get to work together sometime soon. So
I hope
good
so
on
too, man. You guys brought up potentially doing something for a film festival, and I got really excited about that. Working on this film with you and all of the people that had input on it was absolutely phenomenal. I couldn't have asked for a better project to work on. It was really a lot of fun to work on, and there was a lot of talent and just strength put into it. So thank you so much for letting me be a part of that, man.
So good. Anytime at all. Anytime at all. All right, man. Be good. Look after yourself, and we'll see you around the traps.
You too, man. Thank you very much.
Rock on.
I gotta get home to feed Bubbles.